When I think about any human relationship, I try to remember that at the base, at the heart of every human relationship is the unchanging truth that every human is an aspect of the divine. Every human is an aspect of pure consciousness. Every human is that light. And so when I am in relationship, I try to keep in mind that if anything is evoked within me, whether it's anger, fear, joy, excitement, that relationship is God's gift to me to heal whatever reactivity comes up. Welcome to the Truth, Love, and Justice series, How to Love in Human Relationships. So I have been doing a little bit of research on love, and it's very interesting. So neuroscientists say that love is just a chemical cocktail that blossoms in the brain. So there's this very old evolutionary part of the brain called the ventral auriculum, and in that part of the brain, that is where these chemicals begin for like basic functioning. So the way that you swallow, if you have thirst, that tells your body it's time to consume water. If you have hunger, it tells your body it's time to consume food. So they say that love is like a basic function of humans, in the same way that we need food, in the same way that we need water to drink. And it is connected to the reward center of the brain. So that's the hippocampus, the amygdala, and the prefrontal cortex. And when those areas are ignited in the brain, we feel a lot of pleasure. We feel excitement. So that's the dopamine, the oxytocin, the serotonin. And what happens is this feedback system kicks in. So when we love, and this could be the love of a parent, the love of a pet, the love of a friend, love for a passion that we have, that signals to the brain, this is amazing, we should keep doing this. So we go out and we find ways to love. The interesting thing about this is that under some circumstances, it can create an addiction cycle where love feels so good, the external version of love, that we seek it out in the world. And that is the brain doing that. There's another chemical that's released when we experience love, and that chemical is associated with bonding, so the bond between a parent and a child, the bonding between friends, but it's also associated with the feelings of jealousy, the feeling of control, of clinging, that often comes up or arises when we feel love. There was this study done that included humans and dogs. And the study showed that humans who just gazed in the eyes of their pet for 10 minutes had a 300% increase in oxytocin in the brain. And then the dogs had a 100% increase of oxytocin in the brain instantly. So connecting with love immediately puts us in that place of just excitement and joy. The really cool thing about love as well is that it ignites or activates, and when I say activates, it just means like blood rushes to those parts of the brain. The parts of the brain that create resilience, greater happiness, empathy. People who love sleep better, they're healthier, they experience disease less, right? And also, love makes us more creative. It also helps us to be more emotionally and cognitively developed, because those are the areas of the brain that are ignited or that blood rushes to when we have the feeling of love. So that's the scientific foundation of love. And there are connections between what the yogis say about love and what neurobiologists have identified that happens in the body with love. So I'm going to pass it to Swami. What do the yogis say about love, Swami?
First of all, Acharya Kashi, thank you so much. I absolutely love what you shared, and I could listen to you talk for hours. So I'm really grateful to be able to share a very classic teaching from the yogic tradition. And I'm inviting us to just feel within ourselves the presence and the potency of this teaching of truth. The sun can never see darkness. Isn't that amazing? And you can feel the sun can never see darkness. Just allow yourself to feel how direct and how true and how pure that is. The sun can never see darkness. And the sun is right here. I'm pointing to the heart. If you're listening online later, the sun is within each of us. The sun is inexhaustible light. The sun is boundless love. And that is the nature of each of us. And so what the yogis tell us is that it is possible in a human body, with human emotions, with, I'll call that the hardware that you just described, with human hardware, it is possible to live fully, wholly connected to that truth and that reality that the sun can never see darkness. And so each of us is invited to be continual, ongoing, boundless, generous, joyful, glad light. We are invited to be universal, unconditional love with alacrity, not waiting, not holding back, just simply allowing this energy of the sun that can never see darkness to fully live and fully embody through us right where we are.
Thank you, Swami.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us. If you are enjoying this content, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps joy travel.
So our first question, and it's connected to the question that Swami just answered for us. What does yoga philosophy say about relationships? So parents, partners, friends, and today is Mother's Day. There's a pathway. Yoga philosophy has a perspective on that as well. Swami, why don't you start and then I'll hop in.
Okay, perfect. So I'll just acknowledge we could talk on this one question for hours and hours. So I'm sharing a few entry points. Acknowledging that this is Mother's Day, it's important to note that the yogic teachings honor the mother, in particular, as a source of unconditional love and support. And so to honor the mother, who is a source of unconditional love and support, and then to connect with that energy of the mother, that energy of unconditional love and support within ourselves. As we do that, unconditional love and support will share through us in all of the relationships that you mentioned. So if we're serving as a parent, if we're serving as a child, when we have friends, when we have business relationships, when we have a partner, if we're in contact with that energy of love, that energy of support, we're also in contact with respect. We're also in contact with awareness. We're also in contact with an insight and an understanding that exceeds what our human self is able to connect with. And so we will always know what is most helpful in this particular moment right now. And then from moment to moment, whatever the conversation, whatever the decision, whatever the circumstance, we will be in contact with this boundless joy, this energy of generosity, this energy of forgiveness, the energy of connection, the energy of cooperation, the energy of community, the energy of caring and kindness. And naturally, as we live in that energy, that will be reflected back to us. So not in a conditional way, not in a way of, I give this to you, therefore I expect you to give this to me. But naturally, all of our relationships, the different humans that we encounter, will flow this energy back to us. And it happens as naturally as we breathe. It happens as naturally as we laugh. It happens as naturally as we love, because it is our own true nature.
Thank you, Swami. When I think about any human relationship, I try to remember that at the base, at the heart of every human relationship is the unchanging truth that every human is an aspect of the divine. Every human is an aspect of pure consciousness. Every human is that light. And so when I am in relationship, I try to keep in mind that if anything is evoked within me, whether it's anger, fear, joy, excitement, that relationship is God's gift to me to heal whatever reactivity comes up. And a lot of times in our human relationship dynamics, we might have one particular relationship if we're a parent with our child. And in that relationship with our child, we might feel particularly that mama bear energy. That's a little different than the energy that we feel in a relationship with a colleague or with a friend. And so I try to keep in mind, and I try to practice, and I invite everybody actually to practice this now. If you close your eyes and connect now with that unchanging love that exists within the heart, with that energy of the sun that Swami opened with, and you can allow yourself to be cradled, to be held, to be adored by that energy of the sun. See yourself being held and allow that feeling of love to fill you. And remember that every person is also held and cradled and loved and adored by this same energy. It exists within every single person. And so that means that the protectiveness that we feel, the ownership that we feel, the clinging that we might feel, the attachment that we might feel in our relationships, the invitation is to allow that to be healed by that same light, because we come into conscious memory that, everything here is cradled by God, and that every human has their path to take. I say this as a mother. My child has her path to walk. My role as her parent is to help her navigate that path. I can't reroute that path for her. I cannot do that for her. I can only be aware that she is held by that light, by God, in the same way that I am held, in the same way that all is held. And that makes it a delight. That makes it a joy for us to be in relationship, even when it is difficult. Even when we look at another human and say, I don't think things are going well for my spouse, for my partner, for my friend. Even in those times, we can be totally clear that my spouse is an expression of that which is limitless. And they have come with a plan for divine unfolding, which leads them to the eternal, unchanging truth that all this is Brahman. So keep in mind that every human is on that path to understanding, and whatever they are walking through is their path to realization. And so if we have that level of clarity, it's sort of like we can just have fun in our relationships. We can just be love in our relationships. And that gives us permission to not grasp, to not hold, to not make demands of, and to see the perfection of what is always right in front of us in every single human relationship. And I kind of started talking about this next one, Swami. What if something in me feels like I need to control other people's life or choices or circumstances?
It's a really good question.
Yeah.
I mean, I think because it respects that the human in ourselves can look at someone who's struggling or who's going through something difficult and can say, well, clearly, from my perspective, if this person would just choose something else, they would create a different reality. And so just honoring and respecting that that's a very natural human inclination. And Acharya Kashi did beautifully begin to articulate a perfect answer to that. One of the classic teachings from the Bhagavad Gita is that the unreal hath no existence. The real can never cease to be. And so what that helps us do is to know when we look at a friend, a child, a partner, anyone we see who is experiencing a struggle in time and space, that which is real in them is always real, and it's always present. And so that can help us identify with the courage within them, the light within them that is ever present, always guiding them. It can help us reconnect if we have temporarily lost sight of the courage within ourselves, the light within ourselves. And then we're back into that realization that it really is the divine within everyone whom we love. And so this, again, takes it beyond the realm of personality. This frees us. As I was listening to Acharya Kashi, I was noticing that what you're talking about frees us, and it empowers us in human relationships, because we're not simply reacting or responding to personality level expression. We're able to be in contact with what is eternal and what is real, what is true, what is lasting within everyone. And then we're able truly to live in joy and freedom. And it becomes just delight. Interacting with other humans becomes delight if we're not trying to control or manipulate or make things take a particular outcome. We remember that the divine that upholds the whole universe is absolutely upholding my friend, my child, my parent, my partner, my family. The divine that upholds the whole universe is absolutely supporting and upholding me. And so then you're in that energy, you're in that flow of love and support. And so love and support is what will share through you, and love and support will also flow back to you. And this is just natural. It's the way the laws of energy work. So there's a beauty and there's a perfection and there's a delight that is involved in this as well.
So two things came to mind, Swami, while you were speaking. The first is this, I'm going to read this verse from the Bhagavad Gita. Humility, patience, sincerity, nonviolence, uprightness, purity, devotion to one's spiritual teacher, constancy, self-control, dispassion towards objects of the senses, freedom from the eye sense, insight into the evils of birth, sickness, old age, and death, detachment, absence of clinging to son, wife, family, and home, an unshakable equanimity in good fortune or in bad, an unwavering devotion to me above all things, an intense love of solitude, a distaste for involvement in worldly affairs, persistence in knowing the self, and an awareness of the goal of knowing. All this is called true knowledge. What differs from it is called ignorance. And so keeping in mind that in all of our relationships, to go back to where we opened, we have this, Swami used the word hardware, which I love. We come sort of programmed with this hardware, each of us. And the invitations as yogis is to transcend sort of the natural neurological pathways that our brain develop. And through the practices that Krishna highlights in this scripture, in the Bhagavad Gita, dispassion, freedom from the eye sense, and speaking of detachment to son, to wife, to family and home, not that we don't share love to those whom we love, not that we don't say, I am the mother to this child, I am the daughter to this mother, or whatever relationship that we have, but we have clarity, real clarity about what that means, that these are human roles that we're playing, and we have an opportunity to be in these bodies by grace, to play these human roles, to experience the delight that is love. Love is a delight. Love is a joy. Love is a dance. Love is excitement. If anything that we call love feels less than that, we are misperceiving. We're misperceiving. And so true wisdom is knowing, as Krishna says here, true knowledge, is what he calls it, is that we have our eyes, our focus on that which is true. And it is unchanging even as we have human relationships. And so that's what it means to be a yogi in your families. You are connected with what is real as a mom, as a colleague, as a friend. And then it is that energy that shares through you as the mom, as the friend, as the colleague. The second thing that came to me is from the Dhammapada, as Swami was speaking, these sons are mine, this wealth is mine. The fool torments himself to think. When he himself is not his own, much less the sons, much less the wealth. Meaning, nothing belongs to you. Nothing belongs to me. Everything belongs to pure consciousness. Everything, I'll say it again, belongs to pure consciousness. And also, love. There is only love. As humans, we like to think, we like to segment love. So there's like friendship version of love. There's a love that you feel if you have a child, if you're an auntie or an uncle. There's a love that you have for your colleague. All of love is from the same bowl. We're all sipping from the same well. So the love that you feel is the love that you feel, and that is the same love of pure consciousness. And when you connect with that love, you can expand it and expand it and expand it and expand it. It's a balloon that never explodes. It just keeps growing and growing and growing. And at some point, the love in you matches the love of truth. And then it all falls apart from there. It's all just like, it's all love. And that's the gift of relationships to us. That's the place where we get to practice. Like, that is so exciting to me, that I get to practice the love of God in the relationships that I have. In the relationships that I have, which are in themselves an expression of God's grace, an expression of God's love. And we can be in contact with that reality 100% of the time. 100% of the time. What if I'm having a challenging relationship? What do I do in relationship with that person who sets my teeth on edge?
I see a couple of people smiling and nodding. So Acharya Kashi already began to answer this question, I would say, as well. And one of the things that the yogic teachings classically say is that it's possible for the boundary between heaven and earth to melt away. And so I'm just inviting us to feel into the reality and the truth of that. It is possible to live in such a way that the boundary between heaven and earth has dissolved. Living in this way means that fear transforms into love. And so this is another teaching, classic in other traditions as well. Perfect love casts out fear. Anything that I seem to be perceiving in relation to another human is showing me an opportunity of somewhere within myself where I can bring love and healing and understanding. As soon as I bring love and healing and understanding within myself in relation to whatever the other person seems to be mirroring back to me, I will have clarity. I will have non-attachment. I will have dispassion. There will be no entanglement. The other person, so let's say that a colleague is having one of those days where they just want to kind of explode. They still might be having that kind of a day, but if they come into your space and try to explode in your space, that energy will be diffused. It won't be able to be present in your space, in your energy field. If you truly are living in that perfect love that casts out fear, that dissolves the boundary between heaven and earth. And reactivity actually melts away. The classic way that this is described is that even wild animals become docile in the presence of a yogi who is established in this energy of non-harming. Practically speaking, this is us today in our human relationships, in our human families. We are invited to become so established in the energy of non-harming that perfect love casts out fear. If there is no fear present within ourselves, love is what will be reflected to us. And there might be, like a colleague might come into your space and want to melt down, want to have a tantrum. It will dissipate. If you are steady in that energy of the boundary between heaven and earth has melted, perfect love has cast out fear, there's no room for that energy in your field. And what happens then is the yogis say you walk in peace in all circumstances. Whatever is happening in time and space, whatever seems to be happening in relation to other humans, you will be walking in peace. Step by step, the energy of peace will walk forward through you. The world changes when you live in this way. When you live in this way that the boundary between heaven and earth has melted away, your actual experience of this world will also transform. Your relationships will also very naturally transform as well. And what happens then is human structures, the structures that human communities create, also transform. And so we're in this process of transformation. We're here at a very exciting, very dynamic time. And it's joy. It is absolute excitement. It's an honor. It's a privilege for us to be here at this particular time. Remember always, anyone who is giving you occasion to grit your teeth or to notice, is there reactivity present in me? They're inviting you to melt the boundary between heaven and earth. They're inviting you to remember that perfect love casts out fear. Not long ago and far away, not abstract, sometime in the future, just right now, just right here.
Thank you, Swami. I love that clarity of focus, that it's an invitation for us to heal, the reactivity with us. Hearing you say that, Swami, made the lyric from Taylor Swift come into my head. It's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me. So anytime that we notice that reactivity within ourselves, somebody is making me very angry, frustrated, I'm gritting my teeth. It's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me. The reactivity is in us. It's in us. And so the invitation is to figure out, identify what is the pattern within me that can be triggered, that is activated at this right now moment, and then heal that, offer that to the light. And the more we offer those patterns to the light, the more that it's like, I'm also borrowing this from something Swami shared with us. It's like the swan, how water does not get through the feathers of the swan. And that way we become untouchable. We're steady, we're stable, we're unmoved, whatever the winds of space and time may present. I'm steady, I'm clear, because I did my work. I'm aware that whatever comes up in me, I'm responsible for that. And then whatever comes up in the other, that person is responsible for that. But when I do my work, I make it possible for peace to just be present in the room, and the other has to do nothing at all. It takes me back to this story that we're probably all familiar with of the Buddha. The guy comes to the Buddha, he's upset. He spits at the Buddha's feet. The Buddha says, I don't accept your gift. Not a big deal. This was the father of a son who had decided he wanted to study with the Buddha. The father wanted his son at home to work. The next day, the father comes back to the Buddha and was like, that was like amazing. I don't know what you did, but I've been thinking about you since I spit at your feet yesterday. And eventually he became a student of the Buddha. And so it was that non-reactivity. It was that peace. It was that clarity. It was being in contact with love that made it possible for another to gain clarity. Isn't that amazing? That just by doing our work, we make it possible for others to realize the truth. This is like the gift that keeps on giving. Literally, because it just keeps giving. So it's a beautiful thing when we recognize our own patterns and we heal those patterns. And then practically, these are some things that I have done in my walk to help me heal when I have noticed in myself anger, frustration, the feeling of gritting of teeth. One thing I would do is write a gratitude list every day for that person that would get on my nerves. The last one that I had. And I would say, I know this is me. I'm the problem, it's me. So every single day I'm gonna write a gratitude list. I'm gonna find something about this person that is great, because something's there. So that is one thing that works. Put that in your back pocket. Another thing that works is connecting with that person on the level of soul. So in your meditation, going straight to the heart, to that light, to that love, and sitting with them in that place of love, beyond words, beyond explanation, just total kindness, total upliftment, total understanding. It is game-changing, and it transforms relationships without you needing to say a thing. I'm not necessarily saying this person will be your best friend, but the relationship on the level of energy, like that static-y energy that can be in relationship, it will melt, it will heal. So those are two practical techniques off the top of my head that I have personally used and have found to be utterly transformative in healing relationships where I have felt like, dear Lord, like help, prayer, last thing I'll say. Prayer works. Sharing that honestly and openly with the heart, man, I'm really struggling with this. I'm willing to let this go. I want to let this go. Please make the next step visible for me, and watch how the next step will be made visible for you. With an open heart, with a sincere heart, go to the heart, and every single time, without exception, the way is made clear to us. What is most important in my relationship with myself?
What a great question. Isn't that great? So one of the ways to say this is to return to that very classic teaching, the sun can never see darkness. And each of us longs to know that light that is within ourselves, that is never arriving, never departing. Each of us longs to know that love in us, which is supreme, which is inexhaustible. So humans often begin by thinking that we can find lasting fulfillment, joy, and satisfaction outside of that eternal love. You all know the different ways that humans can seek satisfaction and fulfillment and joy that doesn't last. And you know what that's like, to reach for something outside of yourselves. And what the yogis say is, turn within. Whatever it is that you would love to create outwardly in the realm of time and space, begin within. Become quiet and go within. Love yourself. Love the light within yourself. Trust the wholeness and the beauty, the sweetness, the gladness, the alacrity, the wisdom within yourself. Live in the light of the eternal within yourself. And this allows us to be our true, whole, full, complete selves. And I'm smiling. I want to be really clear. I'm laughing with the person that this story is about. But a couple of days ago, I was talking with a neighbor at a neighborhood gathering. And the neighbor was talking about how he had gone on one of those dating apps. And he had done it only for a month, and he hadn't had a good experience. And then he described the picture that he had posted of himself on the dating app. It was a picture of himself next to his very handsome friend. And he was like, my friend was too handsome. I couldn't be seen in the presence of my friend. So I put a big black X over my friend's face and put that up on this dating app. And the people in the room just started laughing. And they were like, I wouldn't look at that. And so just to trust, and I actually saw the photo of his friend with the X'd out face and himself standing next to his friend with the X'd out face. So to just trust that I can stand in the presence of my very handsome friend. I can be myself. I don't need to X out the presence of my very handsome friend. I didn't see the original photo, but the people who were in the room, there were a couple he showed the original photo to, and they looked at his friend and they were like, he's not that big of a deal. Of course you can be seen in the presence of your friend. And so just our human selves might not have an accurate perception of our own wonderfulness. And so just to trust the presence of the wonderfulness that you see in your friend is also completely present in you. And that will help you navigate all of these human situations where you feel like you're in competition or you're being compared with that person who seems so much more handsome than your human self thinks your human self is. So just to trust the absolute glory and presence and magic of the divine within you, and then to live in the light of that presence and magic of the divine within you. And that will help you. It will help you live by the light of the eternal, which also helps you live and navigate human standards with integrity. So in the story that I just shared, the dating app is representing human standards. And so just acknowledging in time and space, it takes wisdom, good humor, courage, and skill to navigate human standards. It takes integrity. That's you. You are integrity. You are wisdom. You are courage. You are strength. You are skill. And so there need never be any fear. There can be awareness and there can be good humor. And it's deeply healing and joyful when we allow the light of the eternal within us to navigate all aspects of our relationship with time and space.
Thank you, Swami. So I have a theory that has no scientific backing whatsoever. But you know how in the beginning I shared that humans are programmed to love, that there's something in us that finds love a basic need, the same way that we need to eat food, the same way that we need to drink water. So my theory is that that basic need is for every human to recognize that the love is inside of themselves. We come with that sort of innate understanding that love is central. It's absolutely functional, or a part of functioning rather, as a human being. And we often experiment in so many different ways to accomplish that realization, most of it externally. I often use the quote from Ramana Maharshi that it's okay to look for happiness. The problem comes when we start to look for it outside of ourselves. And it's the same thing with love. And so we all come with just this basic human internal, I don't know if I want to use the word craving, but there's something in us that knows and recognizes love. And that love is within us. And that is the most important thing in our relationship with ourselves. Because it's the way that we see, respect, understand, love ourselves that influences how we see, connect, love all. And when we recognize the love of God in ourselves, it makes it possible for us to recognize the love of God in all. It makes it possible to gaze through human eyes with basic biological functions, to witness in the wind the breath of God, in the shape of the leaf, the artist called God, in the running flow of the river, the voice of God is that same sound. That's what becomes possible when we connect with love on the inside. When we can see, I am perfect as I am. I am a masterpiece. I was knit by the hand of God, so goes the scripture, in my mother's womb. Every hair on my head is perfect in its placement. I have really good ideas because my ideas come from God. I can connect to what is most real in me and what is most real in others. I matter. The spaces that I'm in, I contribute. I can stand tall because I'm clear about my placement. And this is not a big deal at all. This is like taking a walk in the park. This is like laughing with a friend. This is like when a child is starting to crawl and then they start to walk. It's just innate. It's not anything we have to teach that child to do. They just naturally know, I'm crawling, I'm pulling myself up, I'm gonna take some steps, I'm gonna walk. And it's the same invitation to each of us. Let us walk in love. Let us connect to what is most true in us. Always live from that space of love, and it will transform everything. And it will not be a big deal at all. And from a million miles away, it will be noticeable. It will make an impact beyond this planet, beyond the planet Earth. That love that we connect with has an impact on the solar system and beyond the solar system. So this is big stuff, but it's not big stuff. It's big stuff in that God is big. God is big. Love is big. Love is beyond everything that I'm saying, but certainly it is coming from love, from my heart. So connect with that, know that in yourself, man. Then it's like, I'm walking on sunshine, like every day. When the person has an attitude, I'm walking on sunshine. When there's traffic, I'm walking on sunshine. When things didn't seem to go my way, I thought this was going to happen, but this happened, I'm walking on sunshine. I'm always walking on sunshine. And that is the gift that God has given to each of us. So walk on your sunshine, have a great time, enjoy being in these bodies, because by grace, we're humans, we have an opportunity to love, and it's all in here. Amen.
Amen.